Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in their hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come through with you and your crew, cause everybody going in. S works, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel how we leave through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. Saying S works, what we do.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works. Keep my family out the dirt. This organization, we stopping on Satan and open, but we call it Sworks. Action on Taylor, the killer verse. I do on my feet, my city hurt. They killing our babies, this war going crazy. I pray for my city to reimburse. Running schools for the kids. We the city, yeah, we litty. All I know is a swerve. With the heart, keep it busy. Know the life can be tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. S works, handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky is the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, S work, do your thing. S work, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. S work, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. S work, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in their hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come through with you and your crew, cause everybody going in. S works, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel how we leave through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. Saying S works, what we do.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works. Keep my family out the dirt. This organization, we stopping on Satan and open, but we call it Sworks. Action on Taylor, the killer verse. I do on my feet, my city hurt. They killing our babies, this war going crazy. I pray for my city to reimburse. Running schools for the kids. We the city, yeah, we litty. All I know is a swerve. With the heart, keep it busy. Know the life can be tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. S works, handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky is the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, S work, do your thing. S work, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. S work, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. S work, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works.
Sworkshops are a series of online workshops featuring the many incredibly talented friends of SocialWorks. This series aims to inspire and educate bringing local and national creatives live to your smartphone. They will be sharing and teaching specific aspects of their craft. A wide variety of professions, interests, and hobbies are represented within our curriculum. Did we mention it's a fundraiser too? The stay-at-home notice has students wondering what's to come. For some, graduation and prom will both be canceled. This campaign will directly fundraise a celebration event for those students within the Chicagoland area. Once it's safe, of course. Tune in to any of our socials for one or all of the Sworkshops. You can find the full schedule of programming at SocialWorksShy.org or on our Instagram. Classes start Monday, April 13th. We'll see you there.
Hi, everyone. This is Runzi here. Thank you all for joining in on my first live stream. I am nervous as heck, but let's get started. A little bit about myself. I am an artist based out of Chicago, born and raised from the South Side. Been socially quarantining for a minute now. Don't know how long it's been, but it's kind of getting fun when you kind of find your groove. I hope everybody is healthy and safe out there. Shout out to Sworkshops and SocialWorks for having me here today to help you all learn how to make zines or a little bit about them and what they are. This is all to help fundraise for students, Chicago students, to get a chance to go to prom. I remember my prom. I had a lot of fun, and I feel like everybody should have that. I feel like everybody, once you start, I don't know, freshman year, that's kind of all you look up to, and it's like, people need to have some fun. So let's get to it. A little bit about zines. Zines are pretty cool. A lot of people actually don't know that a zine is short for magazine. It's not actually called a zine. And also you can submit some questions, and I'm looking at them in case anybody has any questions. I'm so nervous. I'm like saying things twice, but bear with me. Okay, so a zine basically is a short culmination of images, text. It could really be anything you want it to be, as professional as kind of just going and getting it locally outsourced and going and giving your images to a print shop to print it for you, or you could make it yourself. It's very, the cool thing about zines is that they're very low grade, and you combine them with some like binding clips, or you could bind them just by staples. You could bind them by sewing them. You really could do anything with them. And I feel like the important part of them and how they help me tell stories. They help me get my ideas together. I have some cool examples here of a couple that some homies have made. Also, when I first started, just like kind of selling my work, I'm not necessarily a person that tries to sell a lot of their work. I kind of like to sell what I like and what I'm actually passionate about. And this is like a good way. Actually, let me start with my my zine. So this is a good way to kind of sell my ideas, sell something fun. It's not necessarily something that I take too seriously. Not in the sense that I don't take them seriously when I'm making them, because I love making them. I love looking at papers and learning all about them, but kind of like the ideas that go behind them. One of my first zines, I have to find it somewhere in the pack right here, was literally, it's right here. So it was literally titled "The Struggle to Get a Bay," a zine by Runzi. I was definitely 21 years old or something, very young at the time. And all I did was go on my Twitter and grab certain tweets and kind of just put them together via Photoshop. And yeah, it was cool, I grabbed a video, and it was, as you flipped it, it was me eating Doritos. So it was kind of cool. And then you got to look at each page, and it had all of these different tweets that had just spoke about love and my perspective on it. So one of them was from June 10, 2014, tired of draking. And then some of them had, like, some of the pages actually had illustration as well. So it was pretty cool. And the best part about it was that this was my first zine that I actually sold. So a bunch of homies, in order to support me, like, they would just buy it. It was like, I think I sold it for $10, and it was actually $12. I would ship it out, and I would put it with this CD, so people could buy my zine, and they would get a special mixtape that came with it. And the mixtape was actually part of this one. So one of the pages on there had a playlist, and it was called Songs That Will Have You Hating Your Ex, or hitting them up. So it was cool. It had like 21 Questions by 50 Cent, Song Cry Jay-Z, I'm Single by Lil Wayne. It was so fun. And the people that got them got the OG version, because I don't even think I have the original one. This one is just printed super big so people could see it. However, it was cool. Looking back at it, I feel like when you put your personality into stuff like this, that's what sells them. You know, no one can make another zine like Runzy and her tweets and Sad Girl 2014 Runzy. So it was cool. Then, you know, I have some other zines that I went along the way. This one was me, and it was just like an illustration. And the main focus of this one was kind of just like mental health, what I do to kind of get me out of the funk. It's just some tips that I would do. So it's like how to have a great day. And I think I put in here, watch a TED Talk, visit a museum, blah, 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 how to make a smoothie, how to be vegan and Latinx. So it's like these ideas that you have in your head that you're kind of like, what would I ever do with this? Like, I have this idea. I have this, if y'all are on, everybody's on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you know, everybody's baking banana bread. So why not be like, let me put my best banana bread recipe doodle on there and just like start making these. You could send these to your friends while you're all quarantined. It's actually really cool. People appreciate them. People will put them on their table as coffee books. And also you could get a little bit more serious with them. This one, I actually, that fell. This one was actually my baby. I feel like after this, I kind of like had a different love for zines. It's more sequential on how to make them. So, you know, this one was kind of like when I realized that with zines, not only can you do more of something that's very quick and to the point and random, but you could also make something that's very meaningful storytelling. This zine is actually, I did it with Red Bull. Shout out Red Bull for today too. We have, and it's called Que las diosas bendigan a nuestro hogar. And basically it goes through it. And I have illustration, I have family photos, I have letters from my cousins. It's based on sequence. I've used sequence in it by putting different stories of people together to talk about family and the value of a mother or a woman figure in the role of a male that grows up in the south side of Chicago. You could see it on my website as well. But yeah, so zines can do anything. You could also, I'm just going to go through these quickly, but this is Nick Lipton, White Knuckle. He actually, this is, I don't know, this is like a nice little book, but essentially what Nick makes a lot of different zines. He does some cool stuff. His is photography. When you make some zines and you use sequencing, so basically like how graphic some of the photos can be next to each other, what emotion do they evoke, you can lay them out, and it's like, you could use Photoshop, you could lay them out. If you don't know anything about Photoshop, print out the photos, put them on a paper, scan them, print them, and get some ideas flowing. I feel like that's the only way that you can make things like this is by trial and error. And yeah, and you could really, again, have fun with it. We have Sean, Old School Sean on Instagram. He has this one, and it's literally he had a project where people came and took photos in front of a backdrop. So it's really cool what you could do with these ideas. I know a lot of people like photography. Not even if you don't like photography, you have a phone, or if you could borrow a phone, or if you have a camera, you have something, you could literally start grabbing all of the images that you gather day by day that you're just taking. You could grab screenshots. You could grab so many things that you necessarily wouldn't do anything with it, and now you can make something. So it's pretty neat. You could also this one is one that I really wanted to show. This is publishing zines for prisoners. I went to a zine fair and they have this there, and it's literally just kind of like interviews, information that you could get. So you could do anything. Couple of cool people to check out: Adam Jason Cohen, Nick Lipton, Latitude, people who has like, there's a Chicago zine fair. There's so many people off the top of my head. Sorry, I missed so many people. I'm nervous. But yeah, so, and even then you could even take zines international. When I went to Mexico City, literally they have like zines setups at some of the biggest art fairs. So don't think small with this. You could literally go huge with this. You could travel. There's people that I've seen in different parts of the country just through making zines and selling them. This is Polvo Press. I believe they are from Oaxaca, and this is screen printing. So you could do anything. It's pretty neat what you can do. So today I have something that I did was kind of just to get everybody into their groove of what is a zine and what you can do at home with it. I pre-prepped a zine already so that you could just kind of get a glimpse of some of the materials that you get and how to make them. But I'm going to, so I'm going to look at the questions. I'm going to zoom in and out of questions right now. So what are your favorite magazines to cut things out from is one of the questions. I love to go to thrift stores and get vintage magazines. It is amazing. I feel like when you do it like this, the way I'm like showing it right now, or how I've kind of developed it in my head, is you can get, I love getting like, I have ones right here. It's called like Woman's Day magazine from like the 1980s, the vintage Playboy magazines, all of that. Because when you're cutting out from these magazines, you are also kind of looking at the graphic design of things. If you like graphic design, if you like laying things out, you could literally cut these and begin to print them and scan them and see the different textures that are given from different papers, overlapping the papers. And it's kind of taking you back to just graphic design back in the day. And when you do that, you kind of are getting a different touch on your own work, which is pretty cool. I have another question. What kind of printer and paper do you use? I go for the most inexpensive printer. I have an HP 1050. I actually got a more expensive printer, and it is, and it was so slow. This one was like $30, maybe like $25 or something on Walmart. Best printer ever. It bleeds. It's like super like, I kind of like, can grungy be a word for like printing, but like it just like smears everything, and I love that. When it comes to paper, you could literally use anything. So this is my go-to when I am at Latitude. So I printed a lot of my zines at Latitude, which is a nonprofit like printing place. And the great part is that when you go out there, and so something that you should know, when you're actually printing out zines and you go somewhere to print them yourself, you have to make sure that your paper is compatible to their printers. So you can't just go and be like, oh, I have this paper and I want to print on it, because you're going to mess up all the printers. I use any paper on my printer because I can mess it up and I'm fine. And I'm just testing the stuff, but don't go doing that at like a real professional place, because they will kick you out and ban you. Maybe not Latitude, they're nice people, but I would ban you. But you could literally do anything. Epson Premium Presentation Paper Matte Double-Sided. It is $12. It is thick enough that you can have a, let me see, this is it. You can have, it's not going to be see-through. You can print on both sides. Cool. And it's compatible to printers that are high tech printers, I would say, unlike my $30 HP printer. Something else that I love, that I've been loving, is printing. I actually went to the thrift store and I got this. It's the inkjet transparency film. So it's literally a transparency paper. You put it in the printer and you print it out. And what I love to do is I love to scan different items. So yesterday, this is actually one of the pages from the zine I made. So I literally grabbed a Lysol, what is this, bottle, and I scanned it, and this is going to be one of the pages. So it's pretty cool, because a lot of the times you don't think of like just printing on transparency paper, and you do it. This is another type of paper that I got. This is, I want to say it's called vellum. It is when you get like those invitations and people are like getting married, you have like that little pretty parchment type paper. This is vellum. You could get this and it really makes a cool effect. I'll show it right now when I get to my zine. But it's transparent paper, so when you actually print out the image, it's going to be on both sides. You can't print on double sides, and it's neat. It's a neat effect. You could also print on newsprint. So this is literally newsprint, newspaper print. Pretty cool. You could print on it. I mean, it's self-explanatory like a newspaper, but it's cool. You can make all your pages like that. You can get some cardstock, inexpensive, $5. You could also print on sketchbook paper. I literally grabbed a piece of sketchbook paper, printed it on there. It's better than plain paper for the fact that it's a heavier weight. That way you feel a little bit of texture. I don't know if that's too much paper talk, but it's pretty neat. The different types of papers that you can use. If you just have plain paper at home, just use plain paper, you know? It's all about ideas. So what I have today is I have 2 ways of making a zine. I believe it was like a file that I gave. It should be on like the SocialWorks site, but I'm going to begin sharing my screen. So you could download this. So there's 2 types of, where is it at? Zine Workshop. All right. So there's 2 types of zines that I made today. Again, I love inspiration from just vintage stuff like magazines, movies, music. So one day, the first time I actually hosted this class, I was like, damn, I couldn't think of when you think about what is a zine and how can I make a zine and blah, 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 you forget that literally, like, when you used to buy music, like the CDs, these little pamphlets used to come inside. Those are technically a zine, so it's pretty cool. This is literally Enrique Iglesias, and the reason I actually use this is it this one? No, I believe it's this one. So, Enrique Iglesias again, but what I did is that when you open the front of the thing, you could actually open it up, and it's a big image of him, and you have all of these small images of him on the back, and you fold it up, and it becomes like a mini zine. So what I actually did is that I provided a Photoshop file so that you can create a one-sheeter as well. So with the file, I believe I provided, where is it? Front. Here, I provided these. So it's front, drag and drop, and back, and they're all dragging and dropping. So it's pretty cool. So I gave specific instructions on there that you can, go. All right, cool. So you can show the image 1 up, image 2 up, image 3 up, cover. So basically the way that you're going to look at this is that you just drag and drop whatever image is on there. So I'm just going to grab whatever image I grab here. Oh, And the idea that I'm using for today as an inspiration is quarantine. My zine is called La Reina de la Cuarentena. So, you know, this is a historical moment that we're living in. As sad as it is, history should be documented. When when you got kids in a couple of years, they're gonna ask you what was quarantine. You know, sometimes you forget about the everyday, like mundane things that you do and how important they can be, like the recipe that you cooked 2 days ago, or the fact that you've been wearing the same sweater for the past week of quarantine. You know, stuff like that should be documented. So I went through my phone book and I grabbed just some images that I thought of quarantine and what I've been doing. So one of them is literally this one. So in order to use these, right? So in order to use this, you have the front file, then you have the drag and drop front. So you just go resize your image to fit the square, hit Command A and drop it. So when I think of quarantine, I think about my busted nails. So I go in there and bam, I'm going to copy merged. And oh crap. All right, cool. So then I'm going to drag and drop it to the front and then bam. And right there, you begin placing all of these images, right? It's going to tell you need 3 different images. And then when it says cover, back cover, image 4 down, so you're going to switch them to the other side. So let's do this one again. So let's go to drag and drop back. And I don't know, I want to get this one. All right. What was this? Okay, this is another one. So this is the stimulus check. What did y'all choose? Did y'all choose a dinner with Jay-Z or did y'all choose the $1,200? Which one are you? But you go, this is a memorable moment. It was a real conversation. So I was actually thinking of including in the zine the fact that everybody was watching Tiger King. So that's cool. That should be remembered. And Carol, whatever her name was. So basically you have image 4, it's backwards. So what you're going to do is you're going to switch it to the other side. Bam. And then you keep putting them. I'm putting the same image. I'm putting the same image everywhere just to keep it rolling so I could get through stuff. But you're gonna do that. And all right, so when you print it out, when you do it, you should have an image like this, right? I have made like these red lines so that you know that you're actually have your image within the parameters, because when you're gonna do this, you're gonna print it on one side and then you're gonna print it on the other side. The red lines, I actually like printing with them for the fact that they are guidelines for where I'm actually supposed to cut and where I'm supposed to be using the bone folder, which I'm going to show that to y'all too. So it's pretty neat. That's going to be one side, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to actually print on the other side, which is going to be the corresponding picture to the back. So we have back right here. I don't know. I'm just going to put this picture. And this is just going to be a huge image, right? And turn off the layer. Copy. Drag and drop back. Cool. So that when you would print it, that would be on the back. That would be on the front. I made my own. So one of the things that I've always taught myself, I don't know if it's actually a good thing. I've always been the same person for all of the years of my life. Oh, also, before I forget, y'all should totally donate to the prom. What is that called? For kids to have their prom by going to the link. But anyways, I've always, I don't know if it's like a good thing or a bad thing, but I always told myself, I'm like, if I have a good sense of humor, then no one can ever get to me. So I put all of my pictures together. This is actually how I looked when I went to prom. Let me see. Look. This is how I look. That's actually how I wore my hair to prom. So I should have thought about it. I should have put a huge picture of myself when I went to prom on the back. I had a cool dress though. But yeah, I printed a bunch of pictures of myself throughout the years. This is when I was I don't know, I think I was a sophomore in high school. But you fold it up. When you print it, that's how it's gonna be. I have the drag and drop, the images you put together, this is how they look together. The image on the back, when you fold it up, this would be my cover. Wait. This would be my cover. So you could gift it to someone, a bunch of selfies of yourself, images of quarantine, anything you want. You can make a zine. You could sell it. You could sell it and raise funds for prom or for anything else you want, you know? We're in a giving mood today. Happy Earth Day. What else? All right. So I have another type of zine, right? Oh, before I forget. So those lines on that paper, right? We have the lines. You could shut them off. Honestly, I love making guides. I should actually teach you all how to make guides. They help you with not only zines, Photoshop, anything. Guidelines are your friends. And yeah, they help you trim stuff. They're amazing. You don't be trimming out a crooked book. You trim it out straight. But anyways, so you could buy this on Amazon. It is a box that has hilo. What is this called in English? Thread. And then it has these bone folders in there already. It has what is called an owl. So you can puncture your book and sew it. And it has a bunch of needles in there. Pretty neat. This is if you want to sew your book. So yesterday at night, I was sewing my book. What I did is right here, I punctured it 3 times and then I sewed it through. I didn't necessarily like the way it came out just for the reason that the paper was too thick. And because of the transparency paper that I use, it just kind of ripped through it. So maybe a stapler would work better. But that's a cool box. If you want to learn it, you could look up some like tutorials on how to actually sew the book. There's a 3-hole method. Maybe I could make a different live and teach y'all how to do it. But it's very easy to sew it through. The bone folder that comes in here, I don't recommend it. It's not the best bone folder. If you look at it right here, I don't know if you can look at it on camera. Yeah, you can see it. It's thick. So when you're actually, I'm going to show you how to do the bone folding right now. But look at this bone folder. It's very thin. It's actually going to bone folders are for like making a line on your book so that you're not creasing them. So the average person is going to grab a piece of paper. Where's a piece of paper? All right, here. Let me use this. Let me find a piece of paper. There you go. All right, the average person folds a sheet of paper like this, right? They go like this. You don't want to do that when you're making a book because that's sloppy. We're trying to get our money up and we're trying to sell these, right? If you want to sell it or you want to gift it, you don't want to do that because then you start getting a bunch of creases. And you could actually, if you look and examine the book inside, you could see like it kind of looks like spider webs on the inside. That's why you need a bone folder. Where did my bone folder go? Oh, so that's why you need a bone folder. What you do is you grab, also what you could get, what you should get too, I actually saw these at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree be coming up. But these are like $5 on Amazon, maybe $7. Amazon be taxing sometimes. They're probably $7, but they're $1 at Dollar Tree. So what I do is you grab this and instead of creasing your book and making it look sloppy, you grab a ruler, right? And now you're gonna swipe with your bone folder, not the one that you got in your little Amazon box because this is too thick. It's not gonna make a good like crease. That's what it's for, it's creasing. This one is thin, got it on Blick, a bone folder. Usually the real bone ones are better. I don't remember how much it was, but you make a line and then you can see exactly where you're gonna fold. Probably can't see it on camera, but pretty cool. Usually I do it on both sides and then that way I know exactly where I'm gonna crease. I'm not gonna get any of that like spider web creases. It's gonna be super professional because we're all professionals. And yeah, that's what you should get. And then, oh yeah, so different methods. You could also grab like a little stapler, staple the crease of the book. I forgot my tangent of thought, but that was one, right? And then that was one method of doing it. So I'm gonna transfer over to some questions. All right. So what are some useful tools to use when cutting and gluing? I like having an X-Acto knife on deck. X-Acto knives are cool. And then I put this little mat thing, and I grab anything and just begin cutting from all the magazines so that I won't go page by page and start ripping everything. In the digital age, what's the importance of making physical art? Digital age, it's gonna crumble. It's gonna turn into pixels. The advantage of printing it, it's always going to be there, like, especially with paper, like, you should, if you store it correctly, it's always going to maintain its value, unless digital files can get lost, printed. You can actually, it could have an emotional connection too, like when you actually are able to hold something, the way you print on it, which paper you choose to tell the story. If you want to have an interview and you want to print it out, and you print it out on this transparent paper versus a newsprint, it's going to have a different effect on the person actually holding it, how big it is, how small you're making your zine versus a large book. It's going to show like the person, oh, this is very intimate because it's so small and I have to actually look at it and I have to take it page by page and I have to be very careful with it. Compared to something digital, it's easy to just go with swiping and forgetting what it is. But with this, you can review it. You can go back to it. You could go back to your library and remember all your work. I have so much work that I don't even remember what I've made. And then I'll look back to all of it. I actually love to print all of my work. And I look back and I can see how technically better I've gotten at so many things. There's just so many advantages of physical. I'm team physical versus digital. But you could also make a digital zine if you want to do that. Upload it on your website. Not like the real thing. The real thing's much better though. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to continue this. So there's a separate pamphlet, right? So I offered another version to make a zine. So I'm going to show you quickly how to make these guidelines on Photoshop just because they're so great. Again, for trimming, for doing anything. So not technically, I would say zine related. This is just Photoshop related, but it's pretty cool, especially when you print and let's say you have a lot of white space, you just want text and it comes out crooked because, sometimes you put in the paper crooked. But what you do is you actually, so when you click H, Command H, you can hide your guides or show them. So let me see. I'm going to start a new layer. So you go to layer. And then what you do is you go to the pen, right? You go to the pen right here. And you want to have your pencil. It's the brush tool. You want to have your brush tool at the smallest possible size. So it would be a 1, and I'm gonna color it blue for your guides, right? So I'm gonna take these guides off the camera. Let me see. So what you do is, and I probably messed that up, but whatever. All right. So what you do is you go to view. Wait, now, okay. So I forgot for a second. So you go to view and you go to new guide. So for paper, when it prints out, when you're printing it out of a printer, you don't want to print to the edge because when you print to the edge of a paper, you're going to cause a lot of smears. You're going to cause, you can mess up the nozzle head of your printer. You don't want to do that. So what you do is usually know your printer. For my printer, my little HP, you have 10 centimeters from the edge in order to not cause a bleed. And that is why I create everything inside of it. So 0.10. Also, my paper size right here, you always want to make sure that you have your paper size set to the actual size of, I see when you're put on the spot, you forget. So you want to go to image size. My paper here is 8.5 by 11 because that is the standard size of a plain sheet of paper. If you only have plain sheet of paper at home, you could do this. Again, this is for the person that has Photoshop. There's they're actually doing like a free month or something, or you know, you could always get a free trial. This is time to learn some new stuff. But this is an 8.5 by 11 paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to view new guide, and then I'm going to put it at the position of 0.10. So where is my guide? Is this it? Yeah, I put double guides. So yeah, so you go to view new guide, and then you have 0.10, and then now we have that guide that popped up, right? So from there, so that's the first guide. That is your margins of actually where you can print inside of. So what you do with your brush tool is you hit the shift key. Let me see. You let me go on the layer. All right. You actually click down, and then you hit the shift key and you move your pen down. So now we should have a blue line. And that, it's not going to give you a crooked line if you hit shift. You do that all around for your borders. And yeah, so you go, and for the other one, 11, 8.5 by 11 on this side, 11 minus 0.1, so the paper would be 0.10, 0.90. I got that by getting the size of the paper. 11 minus 0.10 margin, which I believe is 10.90. Yep, it gives me a margin right there. Again, I'm going to go on this end, and I'm going to hit click down, and I'm going to click shift. Boom, bam. I unhide, and now I can see my lines. So these lines, you could use them for cutting. Enough about the lines, but that's how I made my lines. Someone had asked that. So this is your pamphlet, right? The pamphlet style is like this one. So the cool part about the pamphlet style is that you can have many ways to print on these to make a book, right? But what you could also do, is it this one, or where did I put it? Oh, right here. So these were all created using a file like the one I showed, right? You make this at home. It's by folding an 8.5 sheet in half and dragging and dropping your image. I made my book a square. So what I did is I moved my margins from 8. My bleed is now like a 4, and then I drag and drop an image. I'll show you how to drag and drop an image right now. But the cool part about this is that I have these images together, right? And they actually look like they're just isolated images. But now when I put my book together, this, and I bind it or staple it or sew it, 2 images on different sheets of paper. You see how this one's empty, and then this one, they can come together and make a full image now. That's how you make a book, you know, when you look at it and I have a big image. Sometimes the center image is something, is like the big important center image is at the center of the book. But you could have these. The same thing happens for this one, where you have these tattoos. And actually the way this book is set up is that this is one tattoo of a person, and then you flip it, and then it's a photo of his daughter. But all of these are isolated images. So you could play around with Photoshop on how you want to do that, if you want to do something like that. The best way that I understand how it is, I don't even think I could physically like explain it. Not physically, like just with words I could explain it. But what I do when I don't understand the way that a zine comes out is that I don't print out. I just cut up these little random pieces of paper, and I begin to just write what sheet I'm on. So I have 1 blank, 2, 3, 4, 5 blank, 6. So these are just all corresponding pages. And then now when I look at my Photoshop page, I can see that page 3 and page 4 are going to be on the same page, but page 5 and page 2 are going to be on the back page. So you should keep that in mind on how you want to sequence your actual book if you want to do it through Photoshop. What I did was I have the pamphlet page plus page that I included on the supplementary files that I provided on the website. So what you do is I'm back on my actual screen. So what you do is you drop the actual image, and you can, so this is a drawing I did, right? So you could copy, merge, you paste it, and then now what you want to do is paste directly in the middle. You click V. You want to make sure that it fits within the margin. So this would be one of the pages, right? And then let's say I want to flip this to the other side. So, let me see. Yeah, 180. All right, cool. So now you have that, and that would be a page in itself. They wouldn't necessarily, they could be together if they're in the middle page, or they could be on opposite ends of that. And that's how you make a pamphlet one. You could use this, you can make it a square, you could do anything. You could switch up your margins. It's pretty neat. What I did for the zine that I made yesterday, I made it quickly. What I've been doing is that I've been doing trying to target the time I spent on a piece of art, and kind of minimizing that time, not for the sake of I don't want to spend too much time on a piece, but more for the sake that I want to make sure I'm getting ideas down like that. And if it's bad, I don't care. If it's good, then good, you know? And I feel like that's the great thing about the way that I've been doing these zines. So grab a printer. You could literally put these together. What I use for these is I grabbed the transparency paper. I scanned an item, and it is a Lysol. There you go. It is a Lysol little spray. And these are all items that remind me of quarantine, remind me of me and like what I've been doing. Obviously, people were going wild over Lysol at Walmart. So this is something to capture for history. So you grab that. Also, Happy Earth Day. People are throwing gloves on the floor, as they shouldn't. They need to treat Mother Earth right. But what I did is I grabbed my scanner and I just scanned a glove, scanned that on the other side. This is newsprint paper, right? This is cardstock. So I use one different sheet of paper weight for the zine. I believe that it just makes it so pretty at home. You could print out all these at home. You can order them. You can go to the store, get them, or you can print on plain paper. And this is my cover. So I actually made this in Photoshop. And this is my cover page. The inside of my cover page, I chose to keep white. This is the vellum paper, and it's see-through, right? So I printed shadows. It's me and my dog Chapo. If you know me, you know I love Chops. So this is Chapo, and this is me. So these are all just things that I have in there. And what you could also do, if you don't have Photoshop, if you don't have many materials at home, get the newspaper, get some letters that, I don't know, telemarketers are sending you to get some insurance or something. Cut out the letters, and now you got something like this. What I actually did is I grabbed a magazine, I grabbed an X-Acto, I cut it up. I actually love the way tape looks when you are scanning and reprinting it. I put it all together, and this is actually says, young Illini wrestler says they would rather have dinner with Jay-Z than an additional $1,200. Obviously, I love that thing. So what I did is I scanned this, and then I printed it again. And again, this is just with magazines. You can put it together, collage, keep collage alive. And then when I printed it, it looks pretty cool because now instead of having like this texture that it is just literally tape and paper, you could just print it. And and I also use stencils. There you go. There you go. So now it looks like literally graphic design. Cool, right? I grabbed these stencils. If you don't know how to draw, if you don't have good calligraphy, penmanship, then you could just grab some stencils, start writing on them. You can tell stories. So what I did with this is, and what I tell what I believe would be a good start for everyone is if you make your own quarantine zine. Oh my god, I'm talking so fast. And you legit put it together. So this is how it looks all together, right? And also I added like just drawings in there. These were 6 a.m. drawings yesterday, so they're not my best. But literally what I did is I put like, this is the page of what I wore this past week, and I wore the same thing like 3 days in a row. So I put on Friday, I wore a J Balvin green hoodie and gray sweatpants. And on Saturday, I wore a J Balvin green hoodie and gray sweatpants. So here's my gray hoodie. And literally in 30 years, I'm going to remember how I wore that hoodie for a whole week straight. And then it looks cool when you have the transparency paper. Where is it at? And the glove overlap. Transparencies are lit when you're printing on these. And then, yeah, you could just gather all your images. You don't have to put one image to fill up the sheet. I'm going to go back to my file. So what you can actually do is you could put multiple images on one sheet. And let me see. Cool. So what you can do is you could move multiple images on each sheet so that now they're overlapping and you're getting more information for this. I'm going to transition back to some questions. So what practices you have to encourage creativity when you feel unmotivated? So what I've began to do, zines are a great way to go and put your ideas together. But what I began to do is, again, I began to time myself. So like this piece of drawing, I make these, and I believe I made this in 5 minutes. So maybe you could see it more. So I made it in 5 minutes, and I put on the clock and I do that. And I believe that is the best way to train yourself. You grab literally random objects. Some people may be like, well, I don't know how to draw, or I don't know how to do this. Literally, when I time myself, I forget that like any skill that I have. I'm just going with the flow, go with the movement of how it looks. I feel like many times I'm reading this book, right? So this book says that many times people will be like, Runzi, I can't wait to make a zine, but I don't have transparency paper. I don't have all of this paper. I don't have this and this and this. And all you're putting out there is excuses. Oh, I'm a motivational speaker now too. So when you make all these excuses on how, oh, I have to order this and this and this and this and this in order to make the best book, what you're missing is a start point. What you got to do is start when you're feeling unmotivated. Is grab a sheet of paper, grab some magazines, start collaging, grab anything and see what you like and put it together. Start printing it. Start seeing how different paper, your plain paper and pen, and literally you could just grab some colored pencils, some pastels, some crayons. You could grab anything in your household and just use it to your advantage. You can't just let yourself be brought down because you don't have the specific resources. You got to work with what you can, and that's what we're all doing here during quarantine. Does that smear the transparency sheets? They do, but you have to wait dry time. The same thing with the vellum paper. You gotta wait till it dries. Sometimes if you overlap it, I would say if you're using transparency paper too, wait till you have dry time on that so it won't smear, and wait to keep printing. Wait at least 30 to a minute to keep printing other pages, because you don't want to use too much ink to the point where now you're causing ink smears on your other sheets of paper. Can you only use a transparent paper when scanning? No, you cannot. Of course not. If you have these images, print them on there. They look great. What I like to do is sometimes I like to print. You could use a pamphlet style, print on the transparent paper, and then scan on top of that. Pretty cool. You could use it for many things. How do you decide what size your zine is going to be when you start making one? So again, my printer that I have at home here only has the capability of having the largest size of a paper is 8.5 by 11. So the paper that I use therefore has to fit in there. Sometimes I just literally think it off the top of my head. Today I want a square. So I start making all my files be squares versus having a rectangular shape pamphlet. If you want to go bigger, you could definitely go and, oh, like this is newsprint. You could literally grab one of these sheets and print it out there. I believe even like bigger format printers can print on this paper. And then what you could actually do is you print on this paper, you make a huge Photoshop file. So this is an 18 by 24. What you're going to do is you're going to create an 18 by 24 document. Well, actually, no. You're going to make a document with a DPI, which is a little bit, you know, DPI is basically dots per inch and how, what is the resolution that you should print at. When you are making these files, it should always be the standard of 300 DPI. That way you have the maximum quality in order to print. So when you have your document, you don't necessarily have to, this is a lot of information, but you don't necessarily have to have it at 18 by 24. If you have a higher DPI, let's say you're working on a 600 DPI, you could be making it 8 by 10 as long as it expands. But anyway, you make your guides on Photoshop the way that I showed you. You start breaking this up, and then you start working, printing out images of on this 18 by 24 paper, right? And you can make an image on the backside, and then now you have a huge one. Actually, this is my homie Mandela. Shout out Mandela. He helped me run my first zine class. So I don't know if he wants me to show it, but basically what he did is I don't know if he wants me to show his work, but he has this like huge sheet of paper, and like literally like it's just a huge sheet of paper that he cut himself, and he put whatever images he wanted to have on there. Really neat. Mandela and I used to be both lab assistants at Latitude. How much do you go through on a weekly basis? Honestly, with this printer, I taught a whole class on just one ink thing. Ink is the most expensive thing, but you could literally whirl through these. And what did you get into, what got me into making books, or who or what influenced me? I honestly don't remember. I think that when I first started to, I think I just had an idea. I was like, I want to make a zine and I want to do this. Oh, I think I want to, I don't know what influenced me, to be honest. But if you want to check out some zines, you should go to Quimby's. Quimby's is on North Avenue, and they accept kind of like, I believe 10 zines at a time, and you could sell it in and people could go there and buy them. Buy your work. So yeah, we're hitting the time of finishing up the class. I hope everybody learned some stuff. If you have any last minute questions, y'all could totally answer them. I still got time. But yeah, this is what I did. So when I put the zine back together, I did all of this, and I put the transparency paper on that. Sometimes, let me see what else I could talk about. Oh, something I found too on all of these zines is that having watercolor looks really cool on the cardstock, so it makes them personal. Also, if you're thinking of these right now, we're in quarantine, right? So you make a whole quarantine zine. You know, in order, if you want to just, let's say you want to keep these, you want to send these out to some homies, I would recommend buying, I believe these are called cello sleeves. So when I was actually selling these, right, I would put these in cello sleeves with the CDs, and then that's how I would sell them. And that way, if you're at a zine fair, you could sell them. If you want to ship this to your homie that's quarantined somewhere else and you want to tell them how your time has been going, totally do that. You could also, let me see. So thank you for all the nice comments too. I really believe that storytelling is important, especially when you're Black or a person of color. you got to tell your stories. Our stories are are important. So, you know, like with these methods is you're keeping storytelling alive. You're keeping these history alive. You're keeping who you are alive. Sometimes people might be like, yo, Runzi, I don't have like anything important to say. The way you view something, I view that completely different. What I did with the Lysol, you might be like, nah, you got to do this and this and this. And now you have a whole new method that I wouldn't have been able to see without your eye. So that's why I kind of recommend everybody to do this. Also, people that are watching, I love to just like do this, and like, you know, I'm very passionate about people telling their story, especially people that don't have the voice to do so. So, you know, taking classes like these are important. And as you know, as easy as it may be just to grab a piece of paper and just draw on it and staple it together, you know, the fact that you're taking the time to do this by yourself is so important, and to show the world what you actually got. So I'm very excited for all of this. I was so nervous for the way this is going to be, but I think I got into it. So thank you all for bearing with me. I'm trying to think of some extra like supplementary supplies that you could get. Some ideas. When I make the CD, I had a car that you could use CD still. Some people are probably looking at this like, Runzi, don't nobody got a CD player, you know? What you could do, I had a one time I got a zine that came with the tape. Sometimes you could design covers for these. You could do so many things. And yeah. Oh, what I was gonna say is you could literally give someone a thumb drive with the, you know, if I want to make a zine class and now I give you this and I ship it with the actual book, now you could get this. Damn, I might do that. Hold up. I'm speaking a little too soon. But, you know, literally how to make a zine. The files are directly on this thumb drive. Put it in my cello sleeve. Got my little file on how to, the type of papers you got. And, you know, you can ship this out to someone. Now you got a whole infomercial sort of thing. So it's pretty cool what you get to do. It's about to be 2 p.m. I hope that y'all got some ideas from this. I hope that you can use it. If you make something cool, please tag me. Please show it to me. And please donate to SocialWorks Prom Foundation funds. It's, you know, anything counts. $1, something, you know, pretty cool. Hopefully you all were inspired by my class. And thank you for all bearing here and asking questions. Is it 2:00 yet?
Life can be tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. S-Works handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky is the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, S-Work, do your thing. S-Work, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. S-Work, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. S-Work, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come through with you and your crew, cause everybody going in. S works, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel how we leave through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. Saying S works, what we do.
Social works, social works, social works, social, social works, social works, social works. Social works. Keep my family out the dirt. This organization, we stopping no Satan and open, but we call it Sworks. Action on tail of the killer verses. I do on my feet, my city hurt. They killing our babies, this work going crazy. I pray for my city to reimburse. Private schools for the kids. We the city, yeah, we lit it. All I know is this work. Working hard, keep it busy. Know the life keep it tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. S works, handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky's the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, S work, do your thing. S work, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. S work, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. S work, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come through with you and your crew, cause everybody going in. S works, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel how we leave through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. Saying S works, what we do.
Social works, social works, social works, social, social works, social works, social works. Keep my family out the dirt. This organization, we stopping no Satan and open, but we call it Sworks. Action on tail of the killer verses. I do on my feet, my city hurt. They killing our babies, this work going crazy. I pray for my city to reimburse. Private schools for the kids. We the city, yeah, we lit it. All I know is this work. Working hard, keep it busy. Know the life keep it tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. S works, handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky's the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, S work, do your thing. S work, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. S work, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. S work, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. social works, 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 yeah, S works, everyone put it in their hands, you know it's a vibe, they're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands, yeah, we in this together, we feeling like fam, it's all about peace, so pull up with friends, you better come through with you and your crew, cause